Pretty good. Coach Cameron with the Courier Journal.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Cam?
I'm good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Yeah, I'm curious kind of just what this whole process has been like for you, and then what's it been like to kind of take this step?
The process has been pretty fast. From the time I know Coach McKenzie left, going into that next week, I was contacted about having an opportunity to talk about the job. And I jumped full head of steam onto that. And so it went from there to talking to going through Zoom calls and that type deal and kind of got rolling from there. And then the process of me getting here was pretty fast. I actually started driving here from Greenville on Saturday, drove halfway and then drove the rest of the way in on Sunday. So it's been a fast process from that standpoint.
Next question, guys.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Hi, Coach Sims. Michael McCann from Cardinal Authority. Welcome to town.
How you doing, Michael? Appreciate
Pretty
you.
good. You're welcome. Sorry it had to be so rainy and gloomy for you yesterday, but obviously when you make a move to a new location, you got to get busy pretty quickly. I'm not sure how much time you've had a chance to kind of look at your depth chart and see what you got, but have you had a chance to talk with some of the running backs? And if so, what's that relationship, the start of it at least like?
I've had a chance kind of going into this from the beginning. I took a look at the roster and kind of evaluated the guys just from a recruiting standpoint from coming out of high school. And then I also had an opportunity to look at some tape earlier. I met all of the running backs yesterday when I got here, so I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with them, which was good. And that's just from a personal relationship standpoint, getting to know them as a person, which will continue to be developed as we go along through this process. But it's always a get to know you at first, which is really, really good. Just giving them an understanding of who I am, letting them know who I am from the inside out. And then kind of continue to grow from there. But they all are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed right now. So I'm fired up. I have an opportunity to continue to get to know them even more.
Hey, Coach. This is Matt McGavick with Sports Illustrated. How you doing?
How you doing, Matt?
Doing pretty good. What would you say is the main reason for taking this job and leaving ECU?
It was an opportunity for me to continue to grow. I have a lot of respect for Coach Satterfield and what he's been able to do over his past with his track record, and a lot of respect for the coaches on his staff as well. And then for me professionally, as a running backs coach, who wouldn't want to coach in this offense from a running back standpoint? I mean, you're going to be able to run the football. That's the bread and butter of this offense. And for me, just to be able to stretch and grow professionally. And also opportunity, for my family. I went to school in the eastern part of the state over in eastern Kentucky. It was Pikeville College, now it's U-Pike. But I always had, a strong desire to kind of get in this part of the state and to live in the city as well. So those were the factors kind of coming into this decision. And always just have an opportunity to work with good people.
Yeah, Coach Sims, Cameron again. Did you have a connection with Coach Satterfield, or kind of how'd you feel like you got that first step in the door with the staff?
So I met Coach Satterfield back when I was at Western Carolina. Him and Coach Spear, the head coach there, worked together at App State along with Brad Glenn, who was the offensive coordinator at the time. And we used to go up the App, and then they would come down and visit us as well. So the relationship started from there. And then I coached against Coach Shadon Brown when he was at Wofford, and I was at Western Carolina, and developed a relationship with Coach B. Brown. So I knew several guys on the staff, and that kind of helped me in terms of getting my foot in the door a little bit.
Coach Michael again. I'll
Yes,
jump
sir.
in. Talk about, I guess, a little bit about your philosophy when you're working with the running backs in practice. How do you conduct things when you're out on the practice field, and how do you build expectations with your group?
It's all gas, no brakes. From the time we hit the building, we got to be locked in and we got to be loaded and ready to go. The number one deal is our brand in terms of how we operate in the running back room is we want to be the hardest working, most competitive family in the country. No matter what we do, we always want to make sure we do a good job of staying together and staying locked in as one. When we step between those white lines and when you step in the meeting room, yes, you're competing against each other, but you're also helping each other as well. And that's the number one deal that we want to be. for me as a coach, in terms of how I am on the practice field, I'm always going to be high energy and I'm going to be positive, but I'm going to be demanding as well. It's only one way to get things done, and that's the right way. So we always got to make sure that we're doing a really, really good job of learning from our mistakes and not making the same mistake twice, but also making sure we're doing a good job of elevating ourselves as well and continue to get 1% better every day.
Hey, Coach Jody Sumlin with Cardinal Authority. Hope all is well. Welcome to.
How you doing, Jody? Thank you.
Hey, when you're recruiting specifically running backs, what will you look for? What are the traits that you look for that you want? Because I think every coach may be a little different in kind of what they look at the most. What is your main thing?
The number one deal in terms of going into it, looking at a running back, is you always want to get a guy that's mentally and physically tough. Because at this position, especially at this level, you're going to take some physical pounding. So you always got to have a guy that's mentally and physically tough. You want a guy that's a game changer, that has the opportunity to break a game open and bring the crowd to the feet. Those are the things that we look for. Size and speed attributes and traits like that. Those are all, different things that can be worked out. A guy may be big, but he may not be as fast, or a guy may be small and then he can run and catch lightning when it strikes. So those are always things that we look for. But a mentally and physically tough young man that loves the game of football, you have to have a love to play this game at this level. And a guy that's what we need. And those are the things that we look for. And then physical traits, those will always be a dime a dozen, whether he's fast, whether he's physically strong and gifted. Those are things that we kind of go into. Change of direction, acceleration, those type deals. Those are always things you should look for as well.
Yeah, Coach Sims Cameron again. You mentioned earlier, kind of, I think you said, who wouldn't want to coach in this offense, running backs in this offense. What about it excites you? I know Satterfield's pretty much had a 1,000-yard back nearly every year he's been a head coach.
You just hit the nail on the head, the fact that he's pretty much had a 1,000-yard back every year that he's been a head coach. But opportunity in my past, I haven't worked in a pistol offense as much. So that gives me an opportunity to grow as a coach. Just going into a situation of learning the pistol game more, but also the fact that of being a physical team, being able to run the football, those are the things that stood out to me. A championship track record everywhere he's been. Those are the things that stuck out to me in terms of looking at this job and wanting to be a part of this staff.
Kind of a quick follow-up to that is the success he's had, is that pressure, or is that just another challenge you think in your coaching career?
No, I think that's just, you always want to attach yourself to winners. And that's the way you kind of look at it as a coach, is you always want to be around good people and you want to be around winners, because it's always a process to how people do things. And that was another step in my career of just learning a different way and a different process and being around good people.
Coach Michael, again, you've been in the Carolinas for a while. Your impression of the ACC, and what do you think it's going to be like to coach in the ACC?
It's a dream come true, because for me, growing up as a young boy, kind of sitting around on Saturdays, seeing all the Carolina teams that were playing back in the day in the ACC, and having that dreams, goals, and aspirations. For me, it was wanting to go play in the ACC. Wasn't blessed enough to be able to do that. So then, as I got older, it was an opportunity to play in one of the most competitive conferences in the country. So that stuck out to me, and I just got a lot of respect for every team in this league, and I'm looking forward to being able to get out there and compete on Saturdays.
Hey, Coach Jody, again, I do have one more. I assume you've moved, or you're in the process of moving now.
Yes,
you don't have long before spring ball starts in just a couple of weeks. Is that a good thing for a new coach? Because you don't know your guys as well, and they're going to get thrown right into you. Is that a good thing, or maybe a bad thing for a coach, or not, or does it matter?
You know what? It really doesn't matter. I think it can be looked at as a positive, because right now I'm drinking water through a fire hose in these past 2 days. So learning the offense as fast as I can, and then also learning the players as well, getting acclimated to the area. So being able to go straight to spring ball, that actually gives you an opportunity to be able to learn each other a little bit faster, learning what my personality is, learning what their personality is, what's the buttons that I can push in them. So it's actually a good thing when you kind of look at it from that standpoint.
Anything else, guys?
Hey, Coach, this is Matt McGavick again. For fans and everyone else who might not know you as well, give us a brief snapshot as to what your personality is like and who you are as a person and what you represent.
For me as a person, what you see is what you get. I'm a very humble individual. I'm a we guy. I'm not a me guy. I don't have an ego. My family is everything to me. That is my why. I have a wife and a 5-month-old daughter who is our wild child right now. But for me, it's making sure that every day is better than the day before, getting 1% better and making sure I can make a positive impact in any kind of way I can and anyone I come in contact with. You always want to leave every situation better than you found it. And you never know who you run into on any particular day that may just, need an encouraging word. Or if you speak to them, they may not have had anybody speak to them in a couple of days, or if they need just somebody to give them some uplift, and you never know. So I always try to leave a positive impact against anybody that I come in contact with.
Coach Sims, real quick, this is Cameron again. Pronounce your first name for me.
Darrell.
Okay. That's what I thought. I just want to make sure.
Some people say derail, like the train jumping off the track, because they see the apostrophe in there, but It's Darrell.
I thought so. I just want to make sure. Awesome.
All right, guys. Good. All right. Thanks, Coach.
I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, Coach.
Good.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, Steve's going to sit down in the chair, so go ahead, fire questions out, please.
I guess I'll start, Pete. Cameron from Courier Journal. Congrats, by the way.
Appreciate it, Cam.
Yeah. Just kind of what was this whole process like? When did Scott first kind of talk to you, and kind of just your thoughts on the promotion?
Well, I'm fired up about it. Coach Satterfield first approached me a couple days ago, and we just kind of went from there. But I'm really excited. It's honestly a dream come true, and I'm ready for the challenge.
Hey, Pete, Michael McCammon, Cardinal Authority. Again, also congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've been around Coach Satterfield for a while. How would you describe your understanding of this offense? Are you pretty, well in tune with what he wants and his expectations?
Yeah, I think I have a pretty good understanding of what Coach Satterfield wants. I've been with him for 4 years now, going on 5 years, and I've worked with every position basically on offense. So I know what he wants. I know how he teaches things. And most importantly, I know how he operates and how he operates on game days and what he's looking for out of his QBs. So I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what he wants, and I think that's very beneficial.
Hey, Pete, it's Jody Demling with Cardinal Authority. Congrats as well.
Appreciate it.
As far as coaches go, you start on that ladder, up the ladder everybody talks about. When you take this step from where you were to where you are now in this one, what's different now? What will you do different? And as you said, you've done just about every position with Coach Satterfield. That has to help, but what's different now for you?
Honestly, everything's different. My whole day-to-day now is changing. The last 2 years I was assisting Coach Ledford with the offensive line. So I went from doing that to obviously having my own room and being the quarterback coach. Obviously recruiting is a big step. So that's a big change as well, but I believe I'm ready for it. And you just obviously have a lot more responsibility running your own room rather than being a QC.
As a quick follow-up, how do you know when you're ready for it? You know what I mean? Yourself. Obviously Coach Satterfield feels like you're ready for it, but how do you know you're ready for it yourself? And is it the things that they've put you through the last couple years as far as the other coaches to get you ready?
Yeah, the last 4 years have been very beneficial, but I've been preparing for this opportunity really since I was a player in college. I knew whenever I was done playing that I wanted to coach, and obviously I transferred a couple times, so I played for a lot of different coaches. So I took positives and negatives from every coach that I played for, and kind of used those experiences as well. And then obviously the last 4 years just kind of dove straight into being a college football coach and absorbing as much as I can. I mean, I've learned a lot from all the coaches at App State, Coach Ponce, Coach Ledford, the coaches here, and obviously Coach Satterfield.
Yeah, Pete, Cam again. I imagine being in the offense and knowing the quarterbacks, I imagine helps your transition. You think?
Yeah, definitely. Just the continuity of knowing Malik, knowing Evan, knowing exactly how Coach Ponce teaches it or taught it, knowing exactly how Coach Satterfield teaches it and how he wants it taught is very beneficial. That I think will be that I think will help Malik and Evan kind of keep it in house and obviously improve on some of the stuff that we need to improve on. But I think just the continuity for them, the staff, the offense as well will be very beneficial for us this season.
And a quick follow-up to that. Have you had a chance to talk to them for the first time as quarterbacks coach, and kind of what was that meeting like?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Obviously, we have a relationship from the last 2 years, so I think they were very excited. We had a good meeting and talked through some things, just expectations, what I expect, what they expect out of a coach, their strengths, their weaknesses. And kind of where I see both of them throughout spring ball, throughout the summer, and into this season.
Hey, Pete, Michael McCammon again. As you mentioned, there's just basically 2 scholarship guys there right now. Obviously, that's a room you'd like to have a couple more guys on the depth chart. With spring practice right around the corner, I know you've got some, I guess some invited walk-ins coming in. What do you anticipate as far as, the competition, not only with Malik, but as far as, going down the depth chart as well?
Yeah, well, obviously, Malik Cunningham is our starter. He's a great player and has been great for our offense. He's got some things to improve on that he knows. So I'm looking forward to hopefully helping him achieve those things. Evan Conley's great. He's a great leader, hard worker, one of the hardest working guys on the team. And he's right on his heels, honestly. So I'm looking forward to that competition throughout the spring and them pushing each other. They both have a great relationship and want to make each other better, which is great for the team. And then also this spring we have Tyler Jensen, the walk-on from San Diego, my hometown actually. So we got that connection going. He's a big, strong kid that can throw the football. And then this summer we got TJ Lewis coming in, who's a dynamic athlete that will bring a lot to the table offensively. And then we also have Nathan, the walk-on from Trinity, that will be coming this summer as well.
Pete, you talk about that. Obviously, you need the recruiting class in 2022 will be big to get a quarterback. You're the quarterback's coach now. What specifically will you look for, and what kind of quarterback do you feel like that you guys want to bring in, for the future of this offense as you get going?
Well, first of all, we want a guy that's a leader. You got to be a leader at the quarterback position. You have to have that ability, and it's a 24/7 thing. So that's the biggest thing. We want a guy that's accurate. If you're an accurate passer of the football, you can have a lot of success. So that is something that we definitely look for in a quarterback. And also just you don't have to run a 4-3, but just the ability to move and make plays with their feet, I think, is a big thing, not only in our offense, but in football in general right now. I mean, you're seeing it on Sundays all throughout the season.
And as a follow-up to that on recruiting, you're from San Diego. You played at Colorado State. You spent some time in Louisiana, the Carolinas, in Kentucky. Where do you feel like you've got connections in recruiting in a lot of different places that can kind of help, not just with quarterbacks, but with other things? Is that kind of the areas you will focus in on that you know best, or what do you feel like you will?
Growing up in San Diego, I have a lot of connections out there with high school coaches and quarterback coaches. And then the last 4 years, I mean, all I've been doing is helping in recruiting as well with Coach Ledford, Coach Ponce, Coach Brewer. So I've been talking to a lot of high school coaches throughout the last 4 years anyways. So I feel like I do have some connections, and I think I'll be fine in that regard.
Yeah, Pete, I know you talked about kind of continuing a lot of what Scott Satterfield and Coach Ponce had done already, but obviously every coach has the unique things that they want to do in the room or with their quarterbacks. Kind of what do you add, or kind of what are some things you want to kind of put your thumbprint or your imprint on?
I think a big thing is that I played for a lot of different quarterback coaches, a lot of different offensive coordinators, so I have a lot of experience in a lot of different things and a lot of different ways that different coaches did things. So a lot of the stuff that we do will be the same, but I'll also do some different things as well, different individual drills, sometimes a different philosophy. And I also played in a lot of different offenses, so we might have some new wrinkles in the pass game that we'll come up with or something like that.
Hey, Pete, Michael again. You were obviously you've been around for the last couple of years. Disappointing season record-wise last year. What's the mood at the complex there like? Are guys kind of chopping at the bit to get back at it?
Yeah, the first 2.5 weeks since they've been back have been awesome. Led by our strength staff, it's been a great 2.5 weeks. The players have had phenomenal attitudes. They're all doing extra work, all just kind of chomping at the bit, and they're over here as much as possible, which is really good. So it's been a great start to, I guess, the winter, spring, and then the guys are fired up and ready to get going with spring ball here in less than 2 weeks.
Hey, Pete, I have one more question. As a guy who's been, has worked his way up the ladder and has been a quality control guy, do you get to pick your quality control guy, or does Coach Satterfield do that? How do you kind of, how will you get your help in the room this year?
Well, right now, our quarterback GA is Curtis Fitch. So he played quarterback at App. He was there when I was a GA at App. So he's still working with me, and he's awesome. He played for Coach Satterfield for 4 years, and then was a GA at ECU, and then here with us last year. So again, he knows everything we do. He knows how we coach it and what we want. So he's been a huge help as well.
Yeah, Pete, and I got one more for you. You were, now if I'm right, when Satterfield and the staff left from App, you were the interim quarterbacks coach in the bowl game at App.
Correct.
How much do you think that experience, even though it's just one game, but you obviously had a game plan and things of that nature, how much you feel like that will help you as you take this role?
I think that was huge, just getting that opportunity for about 3 weeks to coach the quarterbacks, and Coach Sat was here and Coach Ponce was already here as well. So just coaching the quarterbacks and having a huge part in that game plan for that bowl game was a great experience for me. And that really showed me that I am ready to do it. I am ready to have my own room. And I definitely have leaned on that 3 weeks, kind of with how I want to do things now. I learned a lot of valuable lessons during those 3 weeks and kind of what I want to do. So that was very, very helpful.
Pete, Scotty, again, I have one more. As you begin this journey, do you look back over your career? I mean, you could have easily last year probably gone somewhere and maybe gotten a job, but you stuck around for one more year. Everything works out for you. Do you look at it and just feel like how kind of blessed you are to be in this situation and how things have worked out for you in your career path?
Absolutely. You never know when your opportunity is going to present itself, but you just got to be ready for it. One of the great things here is you're working for a great guy in Coach Satterfield, and you're working for great people. All the coaches here are awesome. All the way up to our athletic director, Vince. It's just a great culture here. I love the city of Louisville, and that was part of the reason why. It's such a good place here. The fans are great, which is why I wanted to stay and be a part of it. And I got this opportunity, and I'm ready to take it and run with it.
Anything else for Pete? All right. Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete. Congrats.
Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate it, Pete.